Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the National Assembly elections debate brought to you exclusively by QTV Gambia. I am Ansmane Sonyasi, and I'll be your host for tonight. Now, tonight we are doing Serekunda constituency, but first we would like to share with you some very important information. This is a press release from the Independent Electoral Commission. We begin with the sad news as it wishes to inform the general public of the death of Mr. Lamin M. Njai, candidate for Gambia for All Party of Kiang West constituency. And of course, for us here at QTV and the Commission as well offers our condolence to the GFA party and the family of the late Mr. Njai. And of course, the IEC also in the same vein wishes to inform the public that the GFA has been afforded the opportunity to be able to submit a fresh nomination to fill in another candidate for Kiang West constituency before the 2nd of April 2022. Now, still on the IEC, the returning officer for Janjanbureh administrative area, Mr. Ahmadu Tal, has also accepted the withdrawal of Mustafa S. Cham of Doi, candidate for Lower Salum constituency, and still in the same constituency as well as Luba, independent candidate. His withdrawal has also been accepted, as well as Mr. Malik Jase, independent candidate for Lower Salum constituency. Ladies and gentlemen, we once again welcome you to the National Assembly elections debate brought to you, like I said, exclusively by QTV Gambia. Now, before we start, I would like to, share with our panelists tonight, who are all candidates for Serekunda constituency. The constituency has registered voters, a number of 13,969. And these are the votes that they are seeking for to be able to represent them in Parliament come April 9th. Now, the rules are as follows. First, we would like to inform you that this session would last for 1 hour 30 minutes. And then it shall include short breaks. And you would be required, or you are required to address one another by Mr., Miss, or Mrs., followed by the surname. And also, for your information, the questions are independently prepared by QTV. All right? So whatever question you ask tonight, just know it is from QTV. There has not been any influence whatsoever regarding the, questions. Now, each debater will be given 2 minutes to make an opening statement, the same for the closing remarks. And there will be no rebuttals of opening or closing statements. And 2 minutes, you'll be given 2 minutes each, 2 minutes rather, to answer questions, and of course follow-ups as well, as required. And if in the event someone says something and you want to offer a rebuttal, you would be accorded at least a minute to do that. And the question and answer segment among candidates, of course, you'll also have an opportunity to ask, one another questions. You're free to ask anybody on the panel, whatever question you want that you think is related to the National Assembly elections, and of course to your campaign as well. And we will also open telephone lines for our audience. Especially, we would also like to encourage the people residing within the constituency, registered voters within the constituency, to take this opportunity to phone in and ask questions to each of these candidates, or to any of the candidates. Now, at the end of the debate, you would be required to either shake hands, or elbow bump as well, and also be informed that you're free to speak any language of your choice, local language of your choice. That is after the first 30 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. Thank you. All right, so we begin with Mr. Cham.
Yeah.
Tell us briefly about yourself. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, first and foremost, I would like to extend my greetings to the Alcalo of Serekunda, religious leaders, the Muslim and the Christian community, the electorates of Serekunda, and to my campaign team. I am Musa Cham. I've started my schooling at Serekunda Primary School, later proceeded to Muslim High School, where I graduated and worked briefly in the tourism industry, and later traveled to Sweden to join my family over there, and where I studied mechanical engineering, travel and tourism. Later I came back home and worked in the tourism industry as a tour rep and a tour guide, worked for international companies like Vingresso, Spies, and Thomas Cook. Gambia Tours being my local handling agent. Then after 10 years, my community requested me to represent them at the council level, which I didn't hesitate to answer the call, and then vied for the councillorship, and eventually became the councillor for Serekunda London Corner Ward. Right. And being a councillor at the council, knowing the budget strains of the council, and knowing some of the constraints and challenges that we face as a council, so when my community requested me to contest as a National Assembly candidate, I hesitated after doing my consultation, weighing my options. Then I decided to vie for the National Assembly seat to build the bridge between the local councils and the central government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cham. Yes, Mr. Abba, tell us briefly about yourself. Be reminded you have 2 minutes.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to each and everyone that is listening right now, to our elders in Serekunda and the Gambia, and to the youths, the footballers, and those that are in the sports sector as well, and the people of Serekunda, CMC, the people of London Corner, and my campaign team, especially Daddy Boy, and greetings to my parents as well, my father and my sister Rohiba, and the people that are in Serekunda and Churchillstown, and Campbelltown and Ojo Johnson. My name is Abduba. I graduated, I went to LK Lower Basic School. From there, I went to Gambia High. That's where I graduated my high school. From there, I went to the college to study in the field of education, HTC, the highest teaching certificate. I was majoring in English language, minor in physical health education. From there, I went to the university, majoring in English language. In between, I was working in the National Youth Parliament. I am the clerk of the National Youth Parliament, KM. I am also a businessman. I do business, especially I am also a poultry farmer. I established a foundation that is not registered called the Jogjotna Foundation, in which we work with people that are, or especially youths, that are, that are in schools, and some that do not have the opportunity to have work. What we do is we get this wholesale business from those that are doing business in the Gambia here and international. So we link with them, we open these group chats, we put these numbers there, and we send these stuffs online. And when we do that, people will status it. When they have customers, they will get back to us, and we will make sure that we purchase these goods and give it to them. They will sell it and have their profits. That's what we do. I'm also a community worker. When we say National Youth Parliament, you would understand that we are very engaged in youth matters. So this thing is not personal, it's a collective interest. All
right, I'm afraid your 2 minutes is up.
Yes,
let's engage Mr. Savage as well. Mr. Savage, tell us briefly about yourself.
May I first of all say greetings to my fellow panelists, also to say greetings to the constituents of Serekunda, and also to send my greetings to my able campaign team, like Hadijak, Yaros Kamara, Ramulu, Wahab Gay, whom I have to say thank you to them. I was born, raised here, and educated here. I attended Serekunda Primary School. I started the common entrance and went to the Muslim High School. I did my Form 1, 2, 3. Then I later transferred to Armitage High School in Georgetown. From there, I went to the School of Nursing, graduated, and worked in so many health centers until around 1992. I decided to resign from the central government, which is the Medical and Health Department, and I joined the Gambia Family Planning Association, which is an NGO I was stationed at Njabakunda. After that, I read insurance, and after I finished my studies in insurance, I worked with the Gamstar Insurance Company. Later on, went to the Gambia Ports Authority. There, I have training on like safety supervisory management and also on management of general cargo operations. Basically, this is about my schooling, and this is my places that I've worked for before.
Okay.
So
Thank you, Mr. Savage. Mrs. Jaite.
Thank you very much. Thank you, QTV, for having us today. Good evening to my co-panelists. Greetings to the entire Gambia, all of you watching. Special greetings to the people of Serekunda, those I intend to represent in the National Assembly. My name is Yakumba Jaite. I am a qualified legal practitioner. I obtained my degree in law, first-class degree in law from Anglia Ruskin University in the UK. I came back to the Gambia and did my bar school, went home with the best prize in evidence law from the Gambia Bar School. I later joined Dandimayo Chambers, working as a legal practitioner, before I joined the Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission as a legal consumer protection manager. Then came the nomination from President Barrow to the National Assembly. In the National Assembly, I am the chairperson of the Subsidiary Legislative Committee. I am the vice chair of the Local Government, Lands Ombudsman, and the IEC Committee, also the vice chair of the Standing Orders Committee, member of the FPAC Committee, member of the Human Rights Committee, and a member of the Trade Committee. Perfect. I'm also the Executive Director of the Africa Legal Center for Training and Research. Is the center I registered to allow legal students to have a free space to study and prepare for exams. Also, I've sat on the executive of the Female Lawyers Association until 2021 as the young representative of the women in the association. This is my CV.
Thank you, Mrs. Jaite. Yes, Mr. Kamara.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum to everybody who is watching. Greetings to the candidates that are here. My name is Ansu Kamara. I'm a young Gambian born in Serekunda, raised, went to school to Serekunda School, from there to LK, from there to Ndaus. From there I went to Scamford School of Hotel Management and Catering. From there I went to BTC Business Training Center. I'm a young businessman with a family who's resided at Serekunda. This is Ansu.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. I have to say, for us here at QTV, we appreciate that you answered our call, that you honored our invitation. Your constituency is one of the smallest. In fact, only Bakau is smaller for all the 7 constituencies within the KM. So we appreciate that all of you came. Of course, it means a lot to us. Now, to start, let me begin with Mr. Cham. What do you see as the constituency issues that your constituents care about?
Yeah, there are lots of issues affecting the community of Serekunda.
Remember, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah, okay. First, it would be like decongesting the central part of Serekunda. Serekunda as the business hub of the Gambia. There are no water hydrants, no drainage system, and there are no public amenities such as like football fields and community centers. And there are also problems of feeder roads. These are some of the challenges that the both ward development committees of Serekunda have identified.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Mr. Ba. Same question to you. What are the issues in your constituency that the constituents care about?
Yes, one of the problems that is disturbing Serekunda though they are numerous. But one of the problems that are disturbing Serekunda is the roads. During rainy season, you would understand that the waters will be getting into the rooms of people. So the street roads in Serekunda, they are not really good. So it's something that we need to address because waters normally get into the compounds. The other thing is Serekunda is filled with talented individuals, not only in the football sector, not only those people that can write or speak or those that are in business, but there are no opportunities for these people, especially in the football. Because you would understand that most of the youths that are in Serekunda are engaged in football, but there is no opportunity. So we have problem with those kind of things. So they have to run away to go outside so that they can have scouts. The other thing is we also have women that are engaged into business. You would understand that when you wake up Fajr, you would see 70% of this constituency are women rushing to the market. But most of them want to establish good business, but they do not have the opportunity. The financial assistance is not there. So, and when they want to have that, the levy that they put upon them is too expensive. You cannot tell someone that is born in poverty and raised up in poverty to bring, how to call it, a paper of a house in order to have, revenue. So this is one of the problems that are also disturbing Serekunda. The other thing as well is Serekunda, the market of the Serekunda there is a resources to the people of Serekunda. But people that are in Serekunda, especially youths, do not have the opportunity to have shops in the market. So this is something that is really disturbing us, to be honest, as youths. And we know these problems and we have the solutions. So this is something that is really disturbing us and we want to address it. So this is something that
Thank you, Mr. Ba.
is of major
Thank you,
to
Mr.
our
Ba.
people.
Mr. Savage?
Yes, when it comes to Serekunda, I believe we have so many issues, a lot of issues that needs to be fixed. As Mr. Jam rightly said, this congestion is a burden in Serekunda because, they have entirely sold everything, whereby you cannot have recreation centers for the little children. You cannot have football field where the boys can go to play or whatever way. They have the Serekunda school, which is a school. You cannot have the children going to school and yet still you want to be playing football, in the middle of the classes. That's the problem. When you come to, the roads, we have very bad roads in Serekunda, to be honest. When it's the time of the rainy season, roads are blocked. Muddy, you cannot pass through. Some places, there are no good area for even vehicles. And then when it's summertime, it's dusty everywhere. So this is a problem. The drainage system is a problem. Congestion is another problem. Everything is tight. You go around the Sandika area, you have the trucks in there, you have the donkey carts there, you have the wheelbarrows there. People, everything is congested. That tight place, at times you have these big trucks coming in there, you see the women, pulling their stuff on, whatnot. Brake failures can happen, anything can happen. And then, they can just roll onto somebody. And that is life. We need so many things to fix in Serekunda. The youths, also, as he just mentioned, there are certain places when they are allocating them for our youths, the Serekunda youths, to be given the chances, the opportunities of, having, the chances of operating or having, shops. It's a problem. They give everything to the non-Gambians, which is not fair. These things have to be fixed, and so many other issues.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Savage. I'm afraid your 2 minutes is up. Let's engage Mrs. Chaita now.
Thank you. I'll touch on the problems the people of Serekunda themselves have raised with me during the house-to-house engagements I've been having so far. And one of them is the issue of the Serekunda hospital, the one in the Sandika. The fact that the maternity ward, as promised by government, is still yet to be built. So right now, the women of Serekunda, when they want to have their babies, they have to go all the way to the Serekunda hospital in Kanifing. This is one issue they've raised with me, and this is one issue I intend to raise in Parliament, follow it up, and make sure it is done when I get elected. The other issue the residents of London Corner raised is the issue of the bridge. I went there myself and I saw the bridge myself, and it's in a terrible condition. I was informed that last year someone lost his life at the bridge trying to cross during the rainy season. The water overflows. This is one issue as well that I intend to raise in Parliament and make sure it gets fixed. Just today before I got here, the issue of the recreation center of a park for the people of Serekunda and the youths, a football park, was raised by the residents of Bartes. And this is something they want to be fixed. And also the issue of the Sandika, the congestion of the Sandika was raised by the women. The suggestion was that they want to turn the Sandika into a recreational park and move the market. The issue of the Marsengelau market as well being brought up to standard for the people of Serekunda. I think these are the issues they've raised with me so far, and these are the issues I intend to raise in Parliament and follow those responsible to make sure it gets fixed.
Thank you, Ms. Jaito.
Thank you.
Mr. Kamara?
Yeah,
what are the issues in your constituency that the
like,
people want addressed?
Like they said, we have lots of problems in Serekunda that we need to address. Firstly, I will talk about the hospital. The Serekunda hospital, it needs to be a standard hospital, because the hospital that we have is far from Serekunda. We have Kanfing Hospital, and then the Serekunda hospital itself, it is not equipped, and then it is not well facilitated. Secondly, you have youth empowerment. Youths of Serekunda needs to see themselves in Serekunda. We have talents, we have skills, but we can't even produce a better labor for youths of Serekunda. The other thing is we have the market. I think our moms and sisters need to have somewhere that they can have their financial means in a way that they can survive for their families and other things that they need to do. The market, it is very congested, and then I think we need to structure that. We need to structure the market. There are a lot of things that we need to address in Serekunda, and to name few, these are the few things that I want to work on if I'm elected.
Now, at this point, we would delve deep into the roles and functions of National Assembly members. But before that, you've all highlighted issues you think needs addressing in the constituency, or issues that people have raised. Let me begin with Mr. Cham. You mentioned decongesting the central part of Serekunda. You also mentioned the poor drainage system. You mentioned the lack of public amenities, the poor state of the feeder roads as well. If elected into office, how do you intend to go about addressing these issues?
Yes, this is not something difficult, because I have been involved in all functions of the National Assembly. Yeah, you know, so what we are going to do is that with my experience as a councillor, that can enable me to be part of the Regional Governance Committee at the National Assembly, where I can also relay these messages to that committee, and we try to find ways and means of remedying it, because as per the dictates of the Constitution, for instance, feeder roads, in the section 80 of the Local Government Act says there shall be local roads authority. And there is yet to be a local roads authority. Why? Because councils doesn't have the required budget to address those needs. So being a National Assembly member with the experience that I have and with my oversight function to the Ministry of Local Government and Land, I will see to it that these things becomes a reality. And in talking of the decongesting of Serekunda market, the solution is simple. That is zoning of the businesses within the periphery of the market.
Could you break that down for us?
Zoning. For instance, there are businesses in Serekunda around, say, on the Serjob Avenue, you know, that are selling hardware and building materials. They can be relocated to Jimpex, the industrial area, and allow other small businesses to operate within that periphery.
But is the Jimpex area part of your constituency?
No, it's not part of my constituency. And those people that are, let's say, about 3/4 of the people engaged in businesses within that periphery, they are not residents of Serekunda. They are just Gambians trying to find...
remember, these businesses, I mean, reside within your constituency.
Yeah.
By relocating them, financially, is it wise for the constituency?
Yeah, because the constituency is not even benefiting from it, like he rightly said, because all those revenues are put in a consolidated fund, that is the central government. And councils also doesn't have the muscle to maximize their revenues as well. That is why you see so many street vendors even occupying our trottoirs, that is the footpath, which is causing accidents on a daily basis.
I'm being notified that your 2 minutes is up. Thank you, Mr. Ba. You mentioned...
Hope you do stick to that 2 minutes.
Indeed,
because
of course.
I observed that some of them are having
sure, it's
more
2
than
minutes
2
for,
minutes,
for all of you.
Okay.
Mr. Ba, you mentioned the poor roads. You also mentioned the lack of opportunities for young people. You mentioned the lack of access to finance for women that are engaged in business within the constituency, and of course the lack of stalls as well for youths that are also into business within the constituency. If elected into office, how do you intend to ensure that these issues you've raised are addressed? Okay.
Yes. For us, coming to the national level, it's not something that is an accidental thing. We have been working on the solutions, and when we even go to our house to house, we do not talk about the problems of Serekunda. Even my son knows the problem of Serekunda. What we are talking about is the solutions. Okay, one, how can we solve the problem of the roads, the street roads in Serekunda? Is one, the roads are equal to the gates. Okay. They are equal to the gate. So when during rainy season, the water easily gets into the compounds. What we are saying is we have to make sure that we bring down the roads, bring a bulldozer, make sure that you bid the road, let the road go down, and they will not be equal to the gates. So that during rainy season, when we gravel them, during rainy season, the water will just flow. And we have to also make sure that we look at our drainage system and make sure that we remove all those darts that are there and engage on community sensitization, because people normally throw whatever they eat in the street. And these are the things that normally cause this blockage in the drainage system. So after doing the tar in the road, we will engage on this community sensitization to tell them that we should not be throwing whatever we eat in the street. These are the things that is causing the blockage of the drainage system. During rainy season, we'll be just, throwing stones there, jumping from one place to another. The other thing about the market, so that our people that are in Serekunda will be able to have opportunity, to have access to the markets, is we have already done it. I have gone to KMC, local government. I've spoken to the deputy manager of Serekunda, the market. I've told him, so what do you have for the people that are in Serekunda, especially the youths? Are they having an opportunity to get access to the market? He said that what they are trying to do is to give notice to people that are there, means to non-Gambians. But I'm not advocating that Gambians should leave our markets. Non-Gambians should leave our markets. I'm saying that the priority should be given to people in Serekunda and Gambians as well. So they say that they are going to give them notice, and from there, they will make sure that they do a public notice that there is a vacancy in the market, so that they will give an opportunity to them.
Mr. Pa, I'm afraid your 2 minutes is up. Unfortunately. Yes, Mr. Savage, you also mentioned decongesting Serekunda. You mentioned the poor road system, the poor drainage system as well, and opportunities for young people. How would you also go about addressing these challenges if elected into office?
Right. If at all I am elected into office, well, I stand to be corrected, but what I believe is geology does give, councillors or whatever, these boulders or whatever, to rehabilitate the roads. And I believe, like I am saying, my plans are, if at all I am voted into office, I have to work with both councillors. I have 2 councillors within my constituency, that is the London Corner under the Bartes. Well, for the London Corner, it's rather unfortunate because I know London Corner will not be represented in council, up till 2023 when the municipal council elections come. Because what happens there is,
Why are you saying that?
Mr. Cham.
Let him read his act.
Yeah,
Already
no,
there is an
wait.
established ward
I am-
development committee.
Mr. Cham,
just wait, let me go. What I am saying here is, I will come there.
Yes.
What I am saying is here right now, London Corner will not be represented in council because the then councillor has already resigned from his position. Now what you have is the WDC. And what I am saying is, if I am elected into office, I will have to reactivate and, bring up that WDC together with the councillor that is in Bartes until 2023 when the municipal council election comes. Then we have a councillor. But right now, London Corner will not be represented in council. Who is the councillor?
So just quickly, you have under a minute.
Who is the councillor? There is no councillor right now. The councillor has already resigned from his position to vie the position of this National Assembly. So we have the WDC there.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to Ms. Jaita now. You also did raise, some very important issues as well. You mentioned the lack of the maternity ward at the hospital. You mentioned the bridge at London Corner, the lack of football park, of course, decongesting the Sandika as well. You were in Parliament as a nominated member. Now you're contesting on the party ticket. If elected into office, again, how do you intend to go about addressing some of these issues you've highlighted?
Thank you. One of the main jobs of a parliamentarian is called representation. And in representation, your job as a parliamentarian is to go into the House and make sure the voices of the people you are representing is heard. That is the job. If my people want the maternity ward at Serekunda to be fixed, it would be my responsibility to address this at Parliament through the Minister of Health. At the last adjournment debate, he mentioned that work is ongoing to fix the maternity ward, and it was almost done. What is on the ground is different from what he said. When I get back, we summoned the Minister to come and answer why the maternity ward at Serekunda is yet to be completed. This is the role of a parliamentarian. A parliamentarian cannot directly do development to a certain extent, but what your role is to influence development by raising the issues of your constituency in Parliament. And the same with the London Corner Bridge. A maternity ward would be costly, but the London Corner Bridge, I was going to raise the same issue as Mr. Cham is the councillor of London Corner until recently, and the issue of the bridge has been raised. This is something that I would have summoned the council itself and asked them why the bridge is not being fixed. What is the problem? Is it financial or whatever it is, we take it from there. And luckily, last year, for the first time in the history of Parliament, we have what is called the Constituency Development Fund. This is a minimum amount of 300,000, which you get every year. If I'm supposed to be giving this fund, I go back to the people of Serekunda and ask them, what is your priority? Where do you want us to put the money in? And I'm hoping they would say the bridge, because I'm really concerned about the bridge. And this amount of money, I believe, can fix the bridge after the assessment is done. These are the ways I intend to represent the people of Serekunda, raise their voices, and follow up on the issues to make sure whether executive is responsible or local government, they get done. That is my role.
Thank you, Ms. Jaite. Mr. Kamara, you said the Serekunda Hospital is not well equipped. You also did talk about the lack of youth empowerment or opportunities for young people within the constituency, and decongesting the market as well, and of course supporting women. If elected, what would you do to address these challenges?
Well, to represent my people, to speak for my people, to work on this as a solution, we need to work with the local government, work with the councillors. We need to have a dialogue. We need to sit and think about it and see how best we can work on this, how best we can address this in the National Assembly. When it comes to the health center, recently during the COVID, the government have received a lot of funds, and then I think if you use these funds, we could have good hospitals in the Gambia here. And then the other thing is youth empowerment. We can work with Minister of Youth and Sports or other ministerials that are responsible. We have a skill center that we can have Serekunda youth to be engaging. We train them in different skills, empower them, and then let them go and find their own job, and then let them be liberated on their own self, rather than letting them loitering around, not doing anything for their constituency. The other thing is for the market. We need to work with KMC. I think the market is very congested. Everybody can attest to that. But I think if you work with KMC and the council, we have a dialogue. Let's sit and talk. If at all every vent or every woman in this market is going to have a space, like a 1 meter space, I think each and every woman in this market will have a space whereby we will not be seeing women in the street to be running away from traffic, to be running away from the vehicles. I think we need to structure it in a way whereby everybody will have a space, a little bit of space, where you can put your stuffs and sell, and then everybody at night everybody dispatch and then go. It is as simple as that.
Thank you, Mr. Kamara. Your time is up. Before we switch to the local language, Mr. Cham, earlier Ms. Jaita did, talk about the bridge, and she would want you to say if there's anything you've done about it.
Yeah, to my surprise.
Excuse me, and also, Mr. Savage also did say you resigned, and as of now, the people of your ward don't have any representative. How would you respond to that? You have a minute to respond to each of them, each 1 minute, so 2 minutes.
For Mr. Dean, Mr. Savage,
yes.
This tells me that he doesn't understand how council works. Resigning from the council doesn't mean that we don't have a representation. We have an active WDC, which he didn't know how it was constituted. As a councillor, you cannot constitute that WDC. I think that is clear now. For my sister here, she has shown us that she is out of touch with the constituents of Serekunda, because everyone has seen our then Member of Parliament raising those questions, asking the Minister of Works about the 2 bridges. And he answered that they will be fixed. And in fact, the design is ready, and they are just waiting for the dredging and expanding of the water trench, which World Bank have, the Ministry of Work have secured grant from World Bank to do that job. That is why the bridges are not fixed. We even extended to the other side of Dipakunda so that it can facilitate the free flow of vehicles and decongest decongest the traffic in Serekunda.
Okay. You want to respond to that?
Yes, please.
Let's have Mrs. Jaita, please.
I would like to respond. And I think it's important that my responsibility as a parliamentarian for the Serekunda constituency, like I said, will not only be to raise the issues of Serekunda about the bridge. It would be my job.
But what I'm saying here is...
Can I please respond? You had your minute.
Allow her to
It would be my responsibility as their representative to follow up on the Ministry of Work to make sure this is done. If they tell me this last year and it is not done until this year, I have, as sitting as a member of a committee, summoned them or raise questions on why it is still yet to be done. This is coming straight from the Serekunda, people of Serekunda, and as of now, what he is saying could be possible, but right now it is yet to be fixed, and until I go back, if it is not fixed, I have to raise it with the Ministry of Work, follow it up to make sure it is done. That is the job of a representative.
Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Jaita. Mr. Chan, excuse me. Let's allow Mr. Savage to respond.
Yeah, I just want to stand on what I said, that said London Corner is not being represented in council, and that is true. Because the WDC is not going to council. And secondly, the WDC, where is its functions? Where have we seen the WDC in London Corner on community participation or rehabilitation or whatever? It's not there. This is why I want to vie for this position. When I am National Assembly member, that WDC, I'll make sure
do you mean to say it is dormant?
Yes, it's dormant. It's dormant. I haven't seen anything that they're doing. The roads are all there, very bad. So where is the WDC? Because you don't need the bureaucrats. Because you have money, you bring them there to be committee members. It wouldn't work because they don't even have time to come and attend meetings. You need people who are down to earth, ready to give services, to be there. But the WDC is non-functional. It's not working. I haven't seen anything that they have done there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Savage. Just a minute and we move on. I would like us to switch to the local language. Quickly, yes.
Yes,
1
some
minute.
of the questions, some of the issues raised here. The WDC,
Mr. Savage.
Mr. Savage,
Yes.
he is out of touch with the people of Serekunda, though he lives there, which I know and the people of the constituents knows. You understand? The WDC has come up with so many initiatives in Serekunda, London Corner.
Could you tell us some of them?
Street lights.
Could you tell us
in
some
your
of them?
community? And before I become
sorry, Mr. Savage.
The street lights, we have about so many street lights in Serekunda, London Corner Ward. And then again, we have rehabilitated 3 roads that were not motorable for more than 3 years.
Could you name some of them?
Yeah.
1 or 2?
Yes, one. That would be the Nyonko Job Street. You know Nyonko Job Street? And there is also another road around the area, one of the areas that I have installed a community standpipe for the community.
Where exactly?
Exactly. This is on the Reverend J.C. Fai Highway in Serekunda, London. That is Safidin going towards Bundung.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, there is also another one adjacent to the Nawek station around Tipa Garage. So we have done enormous projects to the extent that the people of the community appreciate it in such a way.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cham. I don't want this to be just about the 3 of you, but it appears they are in disagreement with what you've just said.
Yes. Yeah, but maybe callers will come in.
So just a minute
and he
for
doesn't
each
know
of them.
the function
Please,
of the WDC.
yes.
And for my sister.
Mr. Cham, I'm afraid your time is up. And please, Mr. Cham, excuse me, and please be reminded of the form of address.
Okay, that's okay.
Mrs. Jaite, Mr. Savage, all right? Just to remind you. Now, I would give a minute to each of you to respond to what you've said, and then we'll switch over to the local language. Mr. Savage first.
Yeah, what I want to say is that Nyonko Street is where the Alcalo is living.
Yeah.
And everybody is saying, right at the gate of the very Alcalo, that road is bad. What is being done there? Okay, where in the Reverend J.C. is he talking about?
You know, around
street, no, just
where
wait.
Mr. Cham, let him finish.
The street that is
You'll have an opportunity
the street that he's talking is adjacent to the Nawek. I know the person that brought those boulders there. He's a businessman right at Bamboo where the BB transports are, called Mustafa. He's the one that brought them there.
What's his surname?
I don't know the surname, but he's the one that is selling those plumbing and electrical materials under the story building there. He's the one that brought it there for his own interest, his own purpose, so that when containers bring his stuffs, then they can use it there. He wanted to make it a tar road, but the cost was too much for him. He didn't do it. It was that Mustafa that brought those boulders there and put it there.
Okay, Mr.
Somebody
Savage
was there trying to take videos of that.
Thank you, Mr. Savage. I'm afraid your 1 minute is up. Mrs. Jaite.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cham keeps repeating that we are somehow out of touch. I just want to remind him it wasn't our responsibility to be in touch with these issues. It was his responsibility as a councillor and the responsibility of the representative of Serekunda at that time to be on these issues and to have these issues fixed. If they are still not fixed, when elected, it becomes my responsibility to get it done. But unfortunately, as it is now, the bridge is not fixed, and that is where we are. We've heard several times about World Bank projects, but if you do not follow up these projects and hold those responsible accountable, some of them never come into fruition, and that is the reality.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't answer this.
Mr. Cham, you can't have all day.
Mr. Cham,
about the bridge. After making numerous follow-ups.
Mr. Cham, so we'll give you one more time, one more opportunity, because I mean we are really running out of time, and we want to also accommodate our audience who maybe don't understand or speak English. Yes, so you have a minute to respond to both of them quickly.
Quickly.
You have a minute. We're giving you a minute again.
Like she rightly said, when the former National Assembly member of Serekunda raised those issues, I made follow-ups. And the director of National Roads Authority is the one who told me these information. So which means that follow-ups have been made. So when I get to the National Assembly, I will also see to it that these things have been done.
So regarding the roads, I mean the road you were talking about, that you fixed,
the road.
Yes,
This
the
is
one
why
that
I
Mr.
say
Savage
this
was
gentleman
talking
is out
about.
of touch. Why? Because we are just from the rainy season. You understand? And everybody knows, he rightly said it here, that when the rain comes, most of the roads, they are eroded. So this is why you cannot see it. That's why we even stopped that road rehabilitation program and venture into street lightening programs.
When did you do this road rehabilitation you're talking about?
This was, the last time I did it was when they were fixing between Tipagaras Junction and Nawek Junction.
When exactly? I mean, as in month or
It's
year?
like 6 months ago. And then, you know, I happened to get some of these gravels from the director of NRA. The road that he is saying was the diversion created by the National Roads Authority.
It's almost finished.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cham. So we switch over to the local language. And at this point, you're free to speak any local language of your choice. But mind you, I only speak or understand Mandinka, Wolof, and Jola. So, but anyway, mbokk yi kon ñu ngi leen a nuyu di leen dalalaat ci programme bi nga xamante ne QTV ñoo ko fent pour waxtaan ak ñi nga xamante ne ñoo fas yéene taxaw bokk ci lii di National Assembly elections yi tey nag tund bi ñoo gestu mooy lii di Serekunda constituency ñu am fi ñi nga xamante ne ñoom ñoo fas yéene pour taxaw wala teewal waa Serekunda ci National Assembly bi am nañ fi Ibrahim Savage moom independent candidate la Musa Cham moom candidate la bu Dooy Yakumba Jaite moom candidate la bu UDP Abdou Ba moom independent candidate la ak ki nga xamante ne moo di Ansou Camara independent candidate ñu am mbégte ak kontante gannaaw bi nga xamante ne ñëw nañ uyu si ñu waaye tamit pour leeral rek ne NPP yëgal nañ leen te tamit bind nañ leen waaye dañ bañ a ñëw bëgg nañu trop pour leeral loolu ndax nit ñi xam buñ foog ne xëj na xëj na oo ñi bàyyi ñeneen waaye am képp koo xamante ne yaa ngi taxaw si biir Serekunda bind nañ la te jokkoo nañ ak yow pour gis ne oo nañ la fii nga ñëw waxtaan ak waa Serekunda kon su ko defee ma delluwaat rek ci ñi nga xam ne lañ fi am ci ay gan mun ngeen a laaka nag laaka bu leen neex Mandinka Wolof bu dee Fula la sa Joola Séeréer whatever local language bi nga xam ne moo la dooy mun nga koo laaka bu ko defee man njëkkee ci ki nga xamante ne moo di Mr. Cham Mr. Cham bi nga wax ci angale tural nga fi yenn si jafe-jafe yi nga xam ne moo nekk ci constituency bi wax nga tamit naka nga fas yéene gis ne saafaral nga ko tey su dee yàlla wërsëgal na la nga falu dem si National Assembly bi soo doon introduce a private members bill lan la moo nekk
comme liñ fi wax joytu nañ fi lu bari si jëmale ko si yoon drainage ak yeneen ak yeneen dinaa doon bugga ñu transform the National Army to a corps of engineers so that ñu establish these local roads authorities su ko defee dinañ fix suñ problème suñoo jànkuwante si mbiri yoon comme li mu wax moom tam mu ne géologie dañ dee may kansula yi xeer géologie dangaa request ñu may la xeer yooyu ñu la may kwaare yi ñu ay ba boori Faraba understand waaye ana resources yi pour transport ko to the community loolu tam is a big challenge so moo tax nga politique dafa nekk li nga xam ne soo see wax
Mr. Cham dinañ ñëwaat si loolu waaye the question was actually on ban bill nga doon introduce
mooy bill like to transform the National Army to a corps of engineers.
ok all right jërëjëf ma dem si Mr. Ba di nga am opportunity pour delluwaat si loolu Mr. Ba I don't know which language you're speaking xam nga ban ngay laaka si laaka yi but
Olof baax na
ok Olof baax na tey su dee am nga opportunity nga nekk si National Assembly bi soo doon introduce bill si lan la moo nekk
waaw
a private members bill
ok dama gis ne tamit suñu minute bi nga bàyyi ma dem suma minute bi tuuti yaa ngi mel ni ay 3 minutes sax
non loolu mooy rules yi
wax rek xam nga ñu ñëw tamit si début
loolu mooy rules yi
waa Serekunda ñoo tax gars yi war a déglu suñu police yi
waaw waaye loolu mooy rules yi am sure you
ngay
mun nga
joxe
summarize
non waaye moo ni ngay joxe moo loolu laa nekk di wax
su ko jaree rek dinañ la ko jox
ok so ñun bill bu noo pass suñ demee si National Assembly bi moo nekk ñun nen gis ne comme youth si ñun amul opportunity te budget bu noo jox Ministry of Youth and Sport bi ki 1970 bi ki bu Gambia nekkee république ba léegi youth si mënut a gis seen boppa si développement ni réew mi nu ngee daw di dem baaku yi di fa dee so ñun we will pass a bill that will separate the Ministry of Youth and Sport into Ministry of Youth into Ministry of Sport because sport kese boppam bi bu miiti la youth yi kese seen boppa bu miiti la football bi sax mënu koo développe volleyball mu ngi nii Guyana mu ngi nii Sénégal la nekk di trainer mënut a trainer biir di camp so loolu noonu ñun we will pass a bill that will separate this beneen bi moo nekk ñun suñ government bi da ngaa gis ne comme ni ngee procure furnitures te ñun suñ carpenters yi we have local carpenters that are very good ñun will pass a bill that the government should not procure any furnitures into public how to call it offices yow sax moo nekk suñ institution yoo xamante are owned and controlled by the government benn nakal turaati furniture du fa nekk yoo xamante dafaa jógee outside we will also pass that bill beneen bi moo nekk ñun ne am fii ni ay mango ak ay juice yes
waaye tam nga mun ngaa bàyyi xel tamit ne loolu mënuloo ko garantie because di nga soxla ñeneen ñuy bootu si yow pour gis ne bill boobu paas na ko yow kenn doo ko mën a def na bàyyi nga xel loolu
waaw loolu moo nekk problème bi parce que xam nga fii nii ñun suñu dëkk bi da ngaa gis ne politiciens yi seen interest la fi gars yi nekkal nekkul fi interest nit ñi ñun tey jógun as ndaw
xam nga
pour dem maa ngi ñëw si loolu
Mr Bah waaye tam pour fàttali la tamit ne ku nekk man fooguma yëfi selfish la ku nekk am nga programmes remember ku nekk am nga programmes te ku nekk sa constituency suñ problème si they are not unique to nekkul loo xamante ne xëy na da ngaa wax ne lii nekk fii moo nekk fële xëy na soxla yi tamit du benn ku nekk am nga sa programme si boppay tamit xaw ma da bàyyi nga xel loolu xëy na bu utee ak sa bos waaye naka ngaa liggéey ak ñoom pour gis ne loolu am na ok
programme su ma nekk di wax ni it's a national issue nekkul comme Serekunda kese mi ngi disturb Serekunda mi ngi disturb Gambia si boppam parce que youth si laa nekk di wax ni this a youth matter fu mu nekk ni
bëgg nañ nga channel ko si sa constituency fi mu nekk
loolu laa nekk di wax ni suma constituency loolu laa nekk la wax ni youth si amul opportunity loolu laa wax ni loolu tax ma ne la Ministry of Youth and Sport suñ demee foofu nen make sure ñu separate ko mais suñ ko separate nu am Ministry of Youth nu am Ministry of Sport budget you know allocate gars
xam nga ban problème la am Mr Bah soo dee wax make sure dafa mel ni yaa ngi garantie ne dina am te xam nga maa ngi la doon wax si gannaaw ne di nga soxla ñeneen ñu bootu sa gannaaw ay National Assembly members comme yow pour gis ne loolu am na
waaw yow yaa ngi mel ni yow tam da nga mel ni ne du am
déedéet
loolu tam da nga nekk di wax
language bi laa nekk di bàyyi xel
waaw loolu laa nekk di wax ma ne ñun su fa demee incha allahu rabi dinañ make sure ne nu walk towards loolu noonu nu make sure moo nekk suñ bébét la moo nekk because issues yoo xamante ne it's a burning issue mu nekk suñ constituency mu nekk Gambia si boppam youths are suffering nu ngee daw di dee si baakoy bi so we can no longer do that
jërëjëf Mr Bah li maa bañ rek mooy xëy na nga wax in a certain way ñu foog ne da ngaa diggee ëllëg ñu ñëw laaj na la yaa fi waxoon lii
non diggee
ñu dem si Mr Savage Mr Savage
waaw
tey soo doon introduce a private members bill bu dee yàlla wërsëgal na la nga nekk si National Assembly bi si lan la moo nekk
man moom su fekkee ne dama war a dugal bill boobu noonu man dama ko def si jigéen ñi ak ci ndaw ñi because jigéen ñi tamit dama feel ne foog ñu dooleel leen because jigéen ñi daw bi yëpp ci biir dëkk bi nii ñoo koy def jigéen ñi suma ñoom ñoo amee kër yi ñooy toppatoo kër yi waxuma ne góor ñi defuñ ko waaye jigéen ñi dañ leen war a dooleel
kon yow su doon ne yaa ngi woon in parliament si jamono bi nga xam ne ñu ngi doon gëstu lii di constitution amendment bill bi pour jigéen ñi ndax di nga ko doon dooleel
man damaa dooleel jigéen ñi man loolu si laa taxaw man jigéen ñi ak ndaw ñi youth si ñooñu noonu man ñoo ma taxaw
su la fa fekkoon di nga doon vote yes
damaa dooleel jigéen ñi man
ok ñu dem si Mrs Jaiteh soo doon introduce a private members bill si lan yaa ngi fa woon yow yaa ngi fa woon lan moo si nekkoon sa taxawaay
okay the introduction of private members bill was one thing I couldn't achieve in the 5th legislature and I would definitely work on it with the experience I have in the 6th legislature if I get to be elected. And one of my priority bills would be that would have impact directly on the lives of the people of Serekunda would be an amendment of the Local Government Act. The pour ñu amend Local Government Act to make sure council mu am the independence required to carry out certain activities. Actually, the Local Government Present Act now, it is saying after, because it was enacted in 2002, after a period of 15 years, council, the executive, therefore, want to devolve certain powers to them because they have both administrative and executive powers in that administrative area. That still is not achieved. There are a lot of things in the Act, Yohamne, dafa tax council mënuta def liggéeyam, and because of my experience we have gone through this ñun ak ministry bi several times. They will tell us them not up to validation, we are waiting. So we were of the belief they had the intention to bring it. Knowing what I know now, I know if it is not brought through a private member's bill, it will do musa xew. So going to lu ma wax rek mu ngi wax dañoo def bill bi. I think the word should be dina indi bill parce que da nga indi bill mu des ci support bi nga am. Loolu mooy the difficulty of National Assembly pour bill be passed. The second most important issue, I think, for the people of Serekunda and the entire Gambia is the issue of the Public Order Act. ñëpp gis nañ several times people want to demonstrate about their rights against and the responsibilities of government. Luñ bugga ñu defal leen IGP di reject that because our Public Order Act requires that you seek a permit. In all other developing countries and in already developed countries, what you need to do is just give a notice, you offer the security. And this goes to the root of democracy, for people to have freedom of expression, pour you express lan mo len li lan nañ buga def. Another thing, which is not a bill, but which I would advocate for, ñëpp gis nañ how the cost of living is getting higher and higher. And I believe if there was enough investment in agriculture, 15% of our budget minimum goes to agriculture. Di konte jahali pacha rice field bi dina muna feed Gambia. These are the things I would advocate for when I get to Parliament.
Legi bala ma dem si Mr. Camara, yow yaa ngi woon in Parliament. Am nga fa jur yàlla wërsëgal na la nekkaloon ko for the past Parliament bi almost ñeenti at daanaka. Dégg la nekkaloo fa woon Serekunda nominated member nga woon. Tey soo doon gëstu gannaaw lan moo nekk sa achievement si jamono bi nga fa nekkee lan nga mën a ndamoo tey.
Okay, ñëpp xam nañ the first achievement I made for Parliament and for the entire Gambia mooy to guarantee the independence of the most important institute in the Gambia, which is the National Assembly, and also to restore the faith the Gambian people lost in the judiciary with the case of Yakumba Jaiteh.
So to restore the independence of
National Assembly
bi lan nga mean si loolu.
li ma wax mooy maa ngi doon ñëw si kees yi Yakumba Jaiteh versus the Attorney General ñëpp xam nañ ne man Barrow moo ma nominate ma dem Parliament 2 years into it mu decide pour daaxama te he had no powers to do so te loolu su ma ko alaawoon mu dem rek gis nañ ko fi si nguuri Yaya Jammeh speaker bi sax daf leen daan daaxa te loolu is direct interference with the executive in the National Assembly. Lolu so amon institution bi du musa am gainal respect am du musa am independence. I decided to fight this case for 11 months mangi dem out of Parliament. Dega na lu neka why I didn't want Gambia to go back to where we are. I wanted to mold this newfound democracy. Ma yobu that matter court and I did that for the entire Gambia. This year
Yang introduced on bill them on a court.
Okay.
And then you reject ko. Was it
No, that was not a bill.
Nekkut on bill.
No.
Amulo si ben recute, amulo si ben regret.
No. Actually, the interesting thing is it was a loan proposal that
Exactly.
I proposed in Parliament, and the court didn't reject it because they felt it wasn't right. It was rejected based on the fact that they felt the procedure was not correct. And interestingly so, last year budget,
at the end of the day, it was still rejected.
Wow, but last year budget, the same loan proposal was there, was increased, and all the parliamentarians that didn't vote for it didn't say a word. Now it's there for any one of us who muna them Parliament, they will get the benefits of the loan, because this is something that the entire civil service have, which Parliament gives to them, and I felt it's necessary to protect the dignity of parliamentarians by giving them the necessary things they need to serve. Basically.
Okay, legi bala ma dem ci Mr. Camara, just one final question. Si jamono bi nga nekkee in Parliament, ndax am na benn bill boo xamantene yow vote nga against it ak lan la?
Wow, I can't remember off my head, but I think there are a lot of not bills per se. Maybe I would say supplementary supplementary appropriation bill. It's a bill, because the main thing I felt that wasn't right, not what is contained in the supplementary appropriation bill, but the procedure. Again, the law requires that before expenditure is made, nga indi the supplementary appropriation bill. Why the Ministry of Finance, particularly Mamburinjai, I guess the data Fifi Mate, all the time they make expenditures and then bring the bill to Parliament for us to approve. Lolo damako here Parliament. And I guess
local government amendment bill. Nga vote on against bill.
Which local government amendment?
The local government amendment bill.
Wow, the local government amendment bill, which allowed the yes, that one I voted strongly against that bill.
Why, Luther?
Because I believe the people that brought you to party. So ñëwee dara on a ticket of a party. ñi made a choice to go independent. If you come on a ticket of a party, then the responsibility then ko wara maintain. Su fekkee ne bugatuloo nekk the member of that party, you got to resign. You're free to resign. Nga dem taxaw independent. Why you cannot hop on someone's back? Ba nga aga fi nga aga ba pare nga gestu saaga leen ndey loolu laa ko gis.
Okay, jërëjëf. Léegi ñu move on to Mr. Camara balaa ñoo ubbi lines because bëgg nañ ñi nga xam ne ñooy seetaan te ñu dëkkee Serekunda ñoom opportunity pour call laajte bépp laajte boo xam ne bëgg nañ ko laajte waaye tam ñu ngi ñaan ku call bëgguñ ngay maybe compliment wala make a comment na nga laajte is for questions please. Mr. Camara tey soo amoon opportunity pour introduce bill a private members bill si lan la moo nekk.
Well pour man I think ñun ñu war a njëkk a xeex moom lu ma njëkk a isi mooy anti corruption bill bi foog naa lu na wax ni yëpp baax na pour ñu achieve ko wala ñu am ko waaye foog ñu njëkk a xeex corruption parce que suñ ko xewutee rek lii yëpp ñu ko mën a achieve parce que te Gambia nu moo demee doo liggéey for 2 years beneen ñëw jël end ko yóbbu ko and at the end of the day du mujjee fenn investigation la moo mujjee ñu pare si case boobu noonu te loolu dafa nekk loo xam daf ñu sonal corruption lu mun a yaaxa lu mun a rey si nit dafa bëri parce que lu dëkk war a dundee nit jël ko yóbbu ko ñaata ñi ñoo si war a survive ñaata ñi ñoo si war a benefit so fo naa corruption la ñu ko war a xeex from top to the bottom loolu dañ ko war a xeex mu génn suñ système bi den ñu suñu boobu ñu start pour defaraat suñu dëkk start pour taxawalaat suñu askan start pour waxalaat suñu askan parce que su nekk loolu rek ak lu noo munti def corruption su si bokkee rek du dem.
ok léegi balaa ñoo ubbi line si this is for all of you lii pour yéen ñëpp la su dee yàlla wërsëgal na leen ngeen falu ak ku munti doon si yéen naka ngeen a fas yéene liggéey ak seen nit ñi we talking about representation now naka ngeen a jokkooy ak ñoom pour gis ne lépp loo xam ne la ñoo joytu di ngeen ko aagal fi mu war a aagal mu di parliament ma njëkkee ko si Mr. Cham.
waaw dafa am lu ñoo ooyee ward development committees. Ward development committees da nga am also sub ward development committees mooy di VDCs ñoo dee toog out of every VDC dañoo select members ñoo ñooy constitute the ward development committee ñu identify their community needs and priorities su ko defee being the National Assembly member di nga work ak ñooñu di nga liggéey ak ñooñu nga xam these issues su ko defee yooyu noonu di nga ko yóbbu to the National Assembly. You can either channel it through the lifin comme the select committees ak yooyu noonu. ba pare dafa mel ni loo waxtu yi nga ma jox xawuta bari. so li ma bëgg a wax mooy.
rules yi lañ la koy topp rek
Mr.
Mr. Cham.
Your rules doesn't apply to others.
No, of course. Just a follow up quickly. Balaa maa dem si Mr. Ba quickly. So follow it tamit ñaata hours maybe a week or how many times a week bi or si month bi. ngay buddi meet ak sa constituency.
loolu pour ma mita the entire constituency of Serekunda.
tudda nga committee.
waaw committees yooyu.
waaw
mooy waxtu bu ngay amee meetings or man su ma feelee like pour am ñu oote a meeting. I can write to the secretary su ko defee moom kii he can convene a meeting.
ok
ba pare dafa am leena lu ma bëggoon a wax si wax ji. si jëmale ko suma sister.
Mrs. Jaite.
Yakum
Mrs.
sorry
Jaite.
Mrs. Jaite.
yes.
moom legal mind la xam na lu section 112 wax B.
lan la wax
mu ne all servants all members of the National Assembly shall regard themselves as servants of the people of the Gambia and shall desist from any conduct to seek to improperly enrich themselves or alienate themselves from the people.
lan nga jublu si loolu Mr. Cham.
mooy ne mu ngi wax ne rëccuwut that $54 million loans ci boobu gaa yi puusoon foofu. yaa ngi understand
lan moo si nekk sa gis-gis yow.
waaw mooy ne yaa ngi saw yow waaye nit yi nga represent mu ngi wax waxi local council si xam na ne local council si dañu war a am subvention from the central government and 54 million is almost equal to the percentage of that subvention to the councils. yaa ngi understand. so moom xeexu ko yaa ngi dégg youths yaa ngi wax fii ne youths yaa ngi wax yëf yi youth and sport, Ministry of Youth and Sports, roads, decentralization and devolution of powers. For what happen through that. So the is the man, suma experience as a councillor and knowing my local government act. Suma deme, that experience, the nama muna joh
15 seconds, huh? 15 seconds, dama?
Yeah, nama muna joh plus, maneka si local government, si regional government select committee bi. So through that, through serving my oversight function to the Minister of Local Government.
ñu ma xamal le waxtu buñ la appal jeex na.
waaye yaa ko doon jox ñeneen ñi
dinañ la may opportunity Mr. Cham ñëpp a em rules yi rek la ñëw toppa ñu jégalu si loolu Mr. Bah waaw how naka ngaa liggéey ak sa nit ñi naka ngaa buddi jokkoo ak ñoom su dee falu nga.
waaw ñun naka la noo liggéey ak nit ñi dafa yomba ñun xale leen te xale yaa am énergie bi te yàlla si boppam sax dafa wax si Quran bi ne indil leen ma xale yi ñoom laa soxla so ñun nu noonu nekk di laajte mooy ñun suñu boppam nu ngi liggéey ak nit ñi fu mu nekk nii nit ñi waa Serekunda gis ne ni ñun all the time nu ngi foofu noonu nu ngi liggéey ak booy seesata su ñëwee nu si koom suñoo clean ay baamel nu si koom pax yi Westfield nu si koom ñun wi youth workers
waaye naka nga jokkoo ak ñoom
is organisation ñun bala noo dugga si biir parliamentary bi form a Serekunda Development Drive loolu noonu association boo xamante ne we will work with the people of Serekunda.
naka la mel naka la comité bi ndax ñi nekk biir Serekunda yëpp ñu ngi fa. maanaam bu nekk si biir Serekunda
ñëpp fu mu nekk nii waaw youth si fu mu nekk nii yëpp ñu ngi fa après dem neen communauté bu nekk bu dem nii dañ koy wax mairie ne ubbi neen Serekunda Development Drive because one of the problem that we identify in Serekunda moo nekk dafa disorganized so ñun we came with the Serekunda Development Drive nu write a project because ñun nekkul di base suñ funds yi pour development si government bi. ñun we are project writers we write projects with NGOs nu indi fond yooyu noonu right now nu ngi am 23,000 neen organisation programme biir Serekunda school nu ngi am 23,000 waa Serekunda nu maa dégg gars suñu koolee léegi dinañ la wax noonu programme boobu noonu so we will work with the people in that ñun nu loon work ak gars association boobu noonu we will work with
Mr. Bah lii buñ dooree yaa ngi wax ne xam nga ñu ngi doon liggéey ak ndaw yi def nañ lii waaye lan exactly nga def loo xam ne tey mun nga koo gestu joxuñ ko baaraam ne man maa fi def lii wala bokk naa si ñu create lii biir Serekunda.
ok man right now maa ngi liggéey ak nit ñi si business comme ni ma la ko waxee maa ngi amee foundation boo xamante ne is called the Jóg Jotna Foundation nekkul ñu nekk Serekunda kese nekkul ñu nekk Serekunda kese na fi nekk liggéey youth si
Mr. Cham may ko mu daaneel Mr. Cham may ko mu daaneel Mr. Bah
right now maa ngi am a foundation bi is not even registered is online waa Serekunda nu ma dégga is online
naka la si Serekunda nekk di gisee boppam si foundation bi
waaw foundation boobu noonu online foundation la ne yéen nekk di indi ñun seen number yi ñoo xamante ne they are young business men and women nu dugal leen si groupe bi ñun nooy saani foofu noonu ay wholesale bagage yi nit ñi di ko status di si am ok léegi su ñëwee si Serekunda lan leen def Serekunda
naka la membership bi mel bu foundation bi
foundation bi every individual la nii du loo pour register ak yooyu noonu
it's open
léegi comme ñu nekk Serekunda sax na fa nekk every individual youth xale yu nekk school ñu nekk university ñu nekk si biir community bi ñëpp nu mu fa nu si gis seen boppa so beneen moo nekk
waaye tamit na bàyyi nga xel ne as a member of parliament you have to be structured you have to be well structured te especially within sa biir constituency dëgg la baax na drive bi is good te is open ñu bari ñëw see benefit waaye li ñu fee waxtaane yëpp pour Serekunda la tey
ok
waaw
jërëjëf si loolu leen nekk da nga ma laajte woon lan laa defar Serekunda lu ma defar Serekunda am nga as a youth fii nii da nga fi juddoo si ñaaka nga màgge si ñaaka dee si ñaaka so nekkoon xay xaalis Serekunda li ma leen defal moo nekk respect naa leen su nekkee ne community work génn si na neen génn nu def si community work bi dinaa amal gars yi jaama loolu tey xam-xam bu ma dem ba jàng ba university jàng ko si NGOs yi ma xam ne ni I can bring projects yoo xamante ne mun naa dugga bi Serekunda tey xam-xam boobu noonu laa bugg a deeloo Serekunda liggéey leen si loolu noonu
perfect jërëjëf Mr. Bah ñu ngi apprécier loolu Mr. Savage naka ngaa liggéey ak nit ñi
waaw that's fine man li ma bëgg a wax mooy ne xam nga lii affaire representation la lii dafa mel ni soo ñëwee ne da nga bëgg a nekk National Assembly member you are coming to the people pour ñu employer la ñu elect la ñu fay la so yow kon nit ñi ñoo war a nekk sa first priority mooy ne ñooñu foog nga di leen bàyyi xel foog nga di leen déglu fu ñu la soxla ñu mun laa jot nga mun a xam seen soxla yi xam seen tawati lii seen mébét yeeg yooyu noonu yëpp nga am ko bu ko defee yow yaag ñoom ñooñu noonu ñëpp yéen ay ànda ngeen find solution si ba pare tamit
loolu pour def ko foog nga am structure
waaw da nga am structure process si foog ñu nekk foofu noonu moo tax ma ne la man su ma duggee li xew mooy damaa liggéey ak councillors yi nga xam ne ñoo nekk within my constituency understand nga ba pare damaa make sure ne tamit damaa bugg di organise ay town hall meetings ba pare tamit dinaa bugg di organise my AGMs which is annual general meetings yi nii nga xam ne World Development Committee yi nga gis nii nit ñi seen boppa ñooy bugg di ñëw tànnal seen boppa ñi nga xam ne ni ñoom lañ bugg a ñu nekk foofu comme li ma waxoon rek lii da nga nit koo xam ne ku oyof la suma ji pare pour futeeku liggéey waaye comme bureaucrate si ni amin boo leen fa jëlee def leen fa tamit sumay pour ñu ñëw meeting sax problème lay nekk so naka la WDC boobu noonu di fonctionner du fonction
jërëjëf Mr Savage ñu dem si Mrs Jaiteh
jërëjëf first of all before ma ñëw si nu ma related I would like to answer Mr. Cham the issue he raised about Section 112.
Wow.
I think Mr. Cham, loan is not a corruption. What Section 112, limo wax moy nga am député mu def corruption be munu la represent nga am député mu accept bribery. The entire civil service from judge down, minister ñep have access to these loans. You are going to pay it back. Te bu parliament bi li si gëna neex moy parliament at the end of your term you're paid your gratuity. All loans are tied to the gratuity. There is no way government will lose on it. Instead, government dafa make profit on this loan. Tendikon by this time fund be grown. Telima wa deputy you ko vote on yep. Probably because Yakumba Jaiteh moko raise, including mom Deputy Serekunda be one. All of them didn't raise an eyebrow when it came back inside the budget. Billy Ame. So it has nothing to do with that. Decent people take loans. Gambia yep fi gisoon nañ fi social security. Niti dañ leen doon jox loan ñuy fay ndanka civil service. But ñëpp xam nañ the pay you have as a civil servant, as a public servant. So these are the reasons. These things have to be in place for every institution to guard the integrity of the institution. Te lolu la si juplu won. Ñaareel bi ñu ñëw si how am I going to represent my people? The first thing you do, I think as a parliamentarian, is to establish a constituency office. Lolu dafa wara am. Sa people dañ wara am fuñ la ñëw fekka, fuñ la ñëw mit, fuñ mëna yóbbu sen lu leen naxari ñu probably binda ko bay ko fa. Second, to work with all people responsible, be it the WDCs, the local government, to liaise with them, be having quarterly meetings. Because Parliament, we sit quarterly sessions unless there is an emergency. So before session, it should be my responsibility to go back to my electorate, town hall meetings, any small meetings, and ask them, lan moy sen sohla luma wara raise Parliament. This is one way that Bomuna represents the people. Why office be mom? We have a constituency allowance. Then kode am, it's for you to establish office, run sa office be, and pour nga muna joko ak sa nit yi inside Serekunda.
jërëjëf Mrs Jaiteh. So fi mu nekk Mr Cham no excuse me Mr Cham fu ñu follow rules yi fi mu nekk léegi dañoo ubbi lines balaa after Mr Camara di ngeen opportunity pour ku nekk nga laaj sa morom loo ko munti bugg a laaj léegi dañoo ubbi lines yi si 5050 505 5050 505 Mr Camara boo daanee rek ñu daal ubbi floor bi képp koo xam ne am na la te seen biir mun naa laaj sa morom Mr Camara quickly nooy liggéey ak nit ñi.
waaw as a National Assembly member yow yaay nekk nit yi seen bët seen tànka seen noppa te pour nga mën a def loolu rek foog nga am a community mooy WDC bi it needs to be activated dafa war a strong te dafa war a am youths yoo xam ne dina mën a jóg dugga si nit yi di waxtaan ak nit yi te dama war a am tamit constituency office loolu dafa war a am foog nga am nit yi fu la gaay di fekka wala fekka sa team pour mun a waxtaan ak gaay pour mun a joytu gaay pour mun a wax gaay ne lii mooy suñu naxar lii mooy suñu bébét lii leen bugga pour suñu constituency doo mun a nekk as a National Assembly member amuloo office yow amuloo access to the people amuloo access to the WDC it doesn't tell well so yëpp foog mu am foog nga dialogue la foog nga waxaat councilor si ñu relate ak KMC ñu toog ñu yëpp ñu waxtaan parce que ñun Serekunda moo ñu ñor te Serekunda su la ñoree foog nga mun a def loo xam ne ni dafa tax waa Serekunda ñu gis seen boppa waa Serekunda ñu xam ne yow da nga bokk si biir Serekunda so man loolu laay def fu mun a am suma nit yi fu mun a déglu suma nit yi dina am nit yoo xam ne tamit xëy na iyali comme WDC bi dina am nit yoo xam ne doo dugg house to house ñu dooree house to house campagne bi den dugg si nit yi si biir kër yi wan ngaa la ngeen foog loolu la war a def wan ngeen foog loolu la war a def la ngeen foog la mu nekk suñ coono foog ñu am ko foog ñu waxaa nit yi waxtaana nit yi déggoo nit yi parce que loolu mooy sa rôle yow loolu nga war a def so man noonu laay représenté suma
ok dafa mel ni am nañ caller si line bi ci 5050505 hello caller.
Hello.
Hello caller.
Yes, hello.
Yes. ñu ngi laa dalal ci programme bi.
waaw maa ngi leen di sant leen gërëm.
tur bi ak fooy koolee sëñ bi. tur bi baaxee ñu tur bi.
Seku Baro from Bakote.
Seku ñu ngi laa dalal ci programme bi. lan nga am pour laajte.
non lu ma doon laajte maa ngi doon gërëm rek si Moussa Thiam spécialiste Moussa Thiam and others. war ba moom doon wàllu Lonkora wala Serekunda bu mistake ñu tànn koo xam ne daal dafa ñëw foofu boppam laajte Yakumba Jaiteh.
sëñ bi lan mooy question bi waaw dañ créé opportunité pour yéen ngeen mën a laajte please.
Yakumba Jaiteh dafa raison pour loan that $800,000 loan from the like xanaa dafa expecté guys Sénégal guys tànn again.
Okay, jërëjëf sëñ bi. Jërëjëf Mr. Barrow.
Clear.
I guess he wants to know more about
why
I raised the loan. Again, what I said. So they loan money can represent the people, the judges, the ministers, everyone in this country. I guess even QTV probably have their loan scheme. So limoy the issue. Loan be do sacha, do fen, do tapale. It's not corruption. Yakumba Jaiteh represent the parliament for the 5 years. So fekone suma bopa la fa neka loan. Ñepp xam nañ ne lingo president dafa ne. Ni kon tay dem na anda Barrow probably he will appoint me as minister or something else. I've had these offers. Why I work dama jog pour liggéey for the best interest of my country. Te taxaw na here ko I guess si Gambia I have proven my integrity to the Gambian people. Ne man suma joge pour wa Serekunda elect ma dina liggéey for the interest of Serekunda te dina len defal lima len wara defal suma taxaway woné na lolu su waxtu dega ñëwé jot dega setuma borom nomba tanka setuma ki setuma kele ci parlement bi dama dé taxaw wax suma dega lool nak du sacca du fen te any one of them who happen to make it in parliament dafa am the access to the loan. I didn't even ask the loan just for parliamentarians. It was for the entire National Assembly services. ñoo xam ne from cleaners upwards, everyone would have access to the loan. The National Assembly developed a service rule because of this on how everyone can access
I'm afraid.
So loolu sant naa si yàlla bu baax.
Jërëjëf Mrs. Jaiteh léegi fi mu nekk balaa ñoo jël beneen caller dañoo ubbi floor bi pour képp koo xam ne bëgg naa laaj moom si yéen ma njëkkee ko ci Mr. Cham dafa mel ni am nañu caller si line bi hello caller.
Hello.
Waa ñu ngi laa dégg.
Yeah.
Sëñ bi sa tur ak fooy koole.
Yeah, my name is Usman Kambai from Dibakunda.
Usman, yes.
Yeah, I have a question for Mr. Ba, the independent, the youth man.
Mr. Ba.
Usman Kambai.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kambai.
Yeah, Mr. Bat said, Allah said in the Quran, he needs, young boys than the elders. So I want him to tell me the verses and the chapter and the surah, which surah and which verses in the Quran. He told me that.
Mr. Kambai, anyway, thank you. I don't think that is really relevant to, this is more for political debate. We please. Yes, please. Ñu ngi jégalu ci lolu. Yes. Mr. Unless you insist on answering it, but Mr. Bicham, kan ngay laaj ñi su dee am a question. You're free to ask anybody on that platform any question.
Yes. Dina laaj independence ak
Mrs. Jaiteh.
Comme que ne moom mu ne fayal na bi nga xam ne that loan scheme is there. Is it not ne moom dafa bëgg a dem to the National Assembly su ko defee mu am access to that loan waaye section 116 lu moo wax as a servant being a politician ñun ay politicians lañ dañ ñëw pour saafaral jafe-jafe yi te suñ nit yi ñu ngay dunda jafe-jafe.
Okay, so sa question bi mooy ndax moom dafa bëgg a dem si National Assembly bi dafa bëgg a delluwaat pour mu mën a jot si loan bi
pour priviléges
loolu mooy sa question bi pour priviléges. Ok.
ba pare ndax moom mun naa votal boppam.
ndax mun naa votal boppam.
Is he a registered voter of Serekunda?
Okay. Okay. Léegi ñu bàyyi Mr. Jaiteh bu tontu.
All right, thank you very much. Gis naa ne Mr. Cham tey moom man nga fi ñëwal waaye déglu bàkka nga njàkk dawuma si saala yaay ndeer ni ko xale yi di waxee ma gis nga this loan scheme xam nga yow lu ma la bëgg a laaj ndax if you happen to be a parliamentarian for Serekunda ndax yow it soo demee doo jël loan bi wax ko fii mu set doo ko jël one exactly this loan scheme as I said defuma ko woon pour man there is no guarantee ne I am the one going back hopefully I may be the one going back. But there is no guarantee that I will be the one going back to Parliament. So it doesn't make sense to assume that I dama ko def pour man pour go back. What guarantee do I have? I knew ne Barrow duma nominate. I wasn't even prepared to stand for elections. The second one mo answer.
Okay.
It's very important for them to understand.
1 minute.
Wow. The second one mo like whether I'm a registered voter of Serekunda. Register pour vote require would pour nga vote particularly where you are resident. The requirement in law is to vote where you were born or where you are resident. Lolu la luwa biwa. I was born in Dipakunda. Bima decide pour register, ma register Dipakunda. Why lolu tahut man boku ma Serekunda. Tay dina waki history bu mustaham. Suma mam Imam Matar Jaiteh. Moy won Ilimani Dipakunda moko jox papi babali bek ñu tay ñu nek Ilimani dak
Iliman Matar Jaiteh mo suma mam Alhaji Musa Diagne papa si savage no duma lolu sorry
Okay, Mrs. Jaiteh, please. Mrs. Jaiteh, please. Mange ñaan rek mange ñaan ñu keep ko to the issues in your discourse ci platform bi so ñu dem wattu sa in fact sa wattu xooj nañu waaw Mrs. Jaiteh mange jégal ci loolu wattu xooj nañu quickly Mr. Bah tey soo doon wax ak waa Serekunda lan ngay bàyyi gaay ndax wattu xooj nañu fi mu nekk quickly
waaw ok so man lu ma nekk
da nga laaj koy laaj ba pare tàggatoo wala benn borom suy tontu mu tàggatoo quickly demal asa ñu dem amuñ time
waaw ok man lu ma nekk di laajte gars yi moo nekk suñu anti Yakumba Jaiteh
Mrs. Jaiteh
Mrs. Jaiteh
yes thank you asa ñu dem please quickly
Mrs. Jaiteh moom nekkoon na si parlement bi 5 years ñun Serekunda yaaga leen di sona man gisuma lan la def Serekunda man this is the first time ma gis ko bi Serekunda so lan la defar Serekunda especially the youth of Serekunda ak Serekunda si boppam
tàggatool benn yoon
waaw Moussa oncle Moussa Thiam Mr. Moussa Thiam moom tamit ñu tamit as a councilor biir Dipakunda moom tamit su passé ay street light yi parce que Dipakunda moom as a councilor amoon na opportunity
Mr. Bah amul time nag ma xamul time jeex na
loolu ko na amoon na opportunity pour binda ay projet pour solve the problem of Dipakunda especially roads yooyu noonu yoo xam ne dafay taa lan la def si loolu noonu.
ok
man suma tàggatoo. waa
30 seconds Mr. Bah.
waaw waa Serekunda man maa li wax ne lii nii nekkatul affaire yi political party lii affaire yi interest si Serekunda la ak développement yi Serekunda political party si ñuy ñëw dinu nax ay non NPP joxe leen ay xaalis si taxpayers money 400,000 ñii nii ñu ngi nii ay politiciens leen. the same thing mënut a gis développement ñun nañ ñëw pour développer Serekunda ñun ndaw ñi nañ soona di daw di dee baax wi
jërëjëf Mr. Bah ñu ma xamal le suñ time bi jeex na tak Mr. Savage
waaw man li ma bëgg a def si lu gaaw rek mooy dama bëgg a gërëm suma co-panelist yi because ku nekk toog na suma ji matee place am fii professionnel yi waaye li ma bëgg a ñaax ñi nga xam ne ñoom ñooy électorate si nekk Serekunda mooy ne sànni karta bii buñ ko caaxaanee ko di affaire yi léegi député yi la fi ñoo càmbaree lépp luy doxal réew mi lu waayeeg everything so dañ war a make sure ne ñu vote wisely bañ a dugg si ay affaire yi parti wala affaire yi mbokka wala affaire yi xarit lii représentation la
jërëjëf
nañ ci bàyyi xel
jërëjëf Mr. Savage
jërëjëf
ma ñëw si Miss Jaiteh quickly
waaye daf ma laaj before I do cover do I answer mu ne lan laa defal waa Serekunda bi ma nekkee parliament everyone knows I'm a nominated member Serekunda da ngeen am koo leen taanoon teg ko fa kii moom daf ma yab ki nga war a laaj lan la defar Serekunda bi mu nekkee parliament mooy honorable Halifa Sallah ak keneen ki nga war a laaj mooy Mr. Thiam mii nekkoon kansula ñooñu la woon seen liggéey pour ñu defal Serekunda man suma constituency yëpp was the entire Gambia te defal naa Gambia loo xam ne foog naa beneen def doomi Gambia defaluñ ko defal naa leen ko ñoom mii nekk parliament guarantee the independence of parliament li ma tàggatoo mooy waaw maa ngi wax Serekunda ne kuy tànn député dafa am ñetta yooyu seet pour nga tànn sa député kii wax na ko du yëfi mbokka du yëfi koo xam du yëfi koo dëkkal benn qualification dafa important si kenn tànn député te gisuma candidate yëpp ku ma si gën a qualify experience si néegi député bi am naa wërsëg am ko te ñoom ñëpp am ko muy 5 years su ma demee si néegi député bi ñii ni ñoo waxee rek di nga xam ne xamuñ sax nu parliament di doxee it is evident from the statements they are making ñetteel bi mooy integrity and I've proven my integrity to the Gambian people ñetta yi soo ko aminee si député jàppal ñi leen di wax ne Yakumba du doomi Serekunda laajal leen ma kan la fa maamam nekk ilimaani Serekunda te Amadou ni moom suma maam moo dénk maamam bant
jërëjëf Miss Jaiteh Mr Camara quickly rek nga wax ak waa Serekunda
waaw man lu ma wax waa Serekunda mooy dañ soxla implementation dañ soxla ñu jàppale ndaw yi dañ soxla ñu taxawal ndaw yi man maa dëkk ak yéen maa juddoo foofu maa nekk waa Serekunda man maa leen mun a taxaw ñun soxlu ku side right now ku soxla am ay qualities ñu ku ñu dimbalee leen soxla ku ñu liggéey ku fii ñu fi nekk fii ñu fi nekk yëpp
ñu ngi ñëw si yow
fii ñu fi nekk yëpp xam na ne jeexal nañ school am nañ education background so qualify nañ pour taxaw pour waa Serekunda te ñun ay youths leen ñun ñoo xam youths si Serekunda ñu noo jooy ñoo xam suñu yaay noo jooy ñoo xam suñu rakk noo jooy jox leen ñun xale suñu carte jox leen ma seen carte ñu taxawal leen ñu liggéeyal leen ñu loolu la waa Serekunda.
ok jërëjëf Mr Camara Mr Cham Mr Cham lan ngay tàggatoo lan ngay wax waa Serekunda.
waaw man li ma tàggatoo si waa Serekunda mooy man I am the right candidate with the right experience man councilor laa woon bi ma nekkee councilor serve na oversight to KMC and the mayor participate na in the making of the bylaws you understand te lii yëpp parliamentary National Assembly functions la you understand def naa ko ba pare I am honest I represent an honest party.
ok
ba pare si KMC boobu noonu ma nekka xeex naa fa ba ñu establish ñaari committees yu nga xam ne they are very important to ensure accountability and transparency mooy local government accounts committee ak revenue committee bi nga xam ne dafa maximize council's revenue. so dafa dem amee member of the foreign relations committee so dafa mel ni our debate today is not that much organized as compared to the other debates.
Mr. Cham,
yeah, you can have us. You can invite us again.
Mr. Cham, sorry, Mr. Cham, lolu duñ la ko nangul xëj na lolu excuse me xëj na lolu yow sa gis-gis la waaye dinaa la xamal ne ñun we are not perfect, we are human waaye ñu ngi def everything humanly possible pour gis ne ñu toppa rules yi so if su dee yaa ngee dem I mean yaa ngee génn rules yi obviously li nga bëgg duñ la ko defal basically lolu la waaw lolu la so I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming. Ñun at QTV appreciate nañ the fact that you took your time ngeen honor suñu invitation ñëw tontu li ñoo laajte waaye tamit participer si process bi ba pare waxtaan ak waa Serekunda appreciate nañ loolu ñu ngi leen see jaajëfal di leen wish good luck yéen ñëpp yal na leen yàlla defal jaama. To the people of Serekunda, I mean we appreciate as well that you were with us throughout this program and we look forward to another interesting debate tomorrow again. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, we say thank you. Again, I would like to reiterate that we did reach out to the NPP, but they declined to honor our invitation. So until then, thank you for watching.
It's normal.